The crystal chandeliers cast their cold light across the marble floors of the Cartwright mansion, but Emma felt nothing but emptiness. Despite her billion-dollar empire, despite the luxury surrounding her at every turn, she was drowning in isolation. Her 17-year-old son Ethan had barely spoken to her in weeks, and the board meetings that filled her days felt more like prison sentences than business ventures. "I need to get out of here," she whispered to herself, grabbing her keys and heading for the door. 20 minutes later, Emma found herself parking her Tesla outside Rosie's Diner, a small family restaurant she'd driven past hundreds of times but never entered. The smell of coffee and bacon hit her as she stepped inside, and for the first time in months, she felt like she could breathe. "Welcome to Rosie's, hon, sit wherever you'd like," called out a warm voice. Emma turned to see a young black woman approaching with a genuine smile, her name tag reading Mia. There was something about her presence that immediately put Emma at ease, a kindness that seemed to radiate from within. "Thank you," Emma said, sliding into a corner booth. She kept her head down, hoping to avoid recognition. The last thing she needed was photos of her in a small-town diner hitting the gossip blogs. Mia returned with a menu and a glass of water. "First time here? I don't recognize you, and I've got a pretty good memory for faces." "Yes, just needed somewhere quiet," Emma replied, studying the simple laminated menu. As Mia walked away to tend to other customers, Emma noticed a small girl sitting at the counter. The child couldn't have been more than 8 years old, her hands folded carefully in her lap as she sat perfectly still. But what caught Emma's attention was the white cane leaning against her chair. "That's my daughter, Lily," Mia said softly, appearing back at Emma's table. "She's been staying with me during my shift today." Childcare fell through again. Emma watched as Mia served her other tables, always returning to check on Lily with gentle touches and whispered reassurances. But what happened next shocked everyone in the diner, including Emma herself. When Mia's lunch break arrived, she sat beside Lily with a small sandwich and a cup of soup. Without drawing any attention to herself, Mia carefully ate only half of her meal, then discreetly slid the rest toward her daughter. "Here, baby, finish Mama's sandwich." "I'm getting full," Mia said, though Emma could see the hunger in her eyes. Lily's face lit up. "Are you sure, Mama?" "Of course, sweetheart. You need to grow big and strong." Emma's breath caught in her throat. She recognized that sacrifice, the way a mother gives everything for her child. But unlike Emma's world of endless resources, Mia was literally giving the food from her own mouth to ensure her daughter had enough. Little did Emma know that this moment would shatter every assumption she'd made about what truly mattered in life. As she watched Lily carefully eat her mother's sandwich, guided by Mia's patient hands, Emma felt tears threatening to spill. When was the last time she'd sacrificed anything meaningful for Ethan? When had she last sat with him, really present, without her phone buzzing with business calls? "Ma'am? Did you decide what you'd like to order?" Mia had returned, and Emma realized she'd been staring. "I'm sorry, Emma fumbled with the menu, her usual composure completely shattered. "The chicken sandwich looks good." But as Mia walked away, Emma couldn't take her eyes off the little girl at the counter. Lily was humming softly to herself, her unseeing eyes bright with contentment despite their obvious struggles. This decision would change everything, though Emma didn't realize it yet. When Mia brought her sandwich, Emma barely touched it. Instead, she found herself calculating numbers in her head, not profit margins or stock prices, but something far more important. How much would it cost to ensure this little girl never went hungry again? How much to give this devoted mother the security she deserved? But the real shock was still coming. As Emma prepared to leave, she overheard Mia on the phone in the corner, her voice strained with worry. "Please, just give me 2 more weeks. I can get caught up on the rent, I promise. My daughter, she's blind, and if we get evicted..." Mia's voice broke slightly. Emma's heart stopped. She fumbled for her wallet, leaving far more money than necessary for her untouched meal. As she headed for the door, she turned back one last time to see Mia wiping away tears while Lily reached up to comfort her mother with small, innocent hands. Standing in the parking lot, Emma's entire world shifted on its axis. For 38 years, she'd believed that success meant accumulating wealth and power. But watching Mia's selfless love for her daughter, seeing the grace with which they faced their struggles, had shown her something she'd never understood before. What was she going to do about it? Emma couldn't stop thinking about what she'd witnessed. 3 days had passed since her visit to Miller's diner, yet the image of Mia quietly sharing her meal with her blind daughter haunted her thoughts. She sat in her marble-floored kitchen, staring at her untouched breakfast while her housekeeper bustled around, preparing for another day of meetings and obligations. "Mrs. Cartwright, your car will be here in 20 minutes, her assistant called from the hallway. Emma barely heard her. Instead, she found herself wondering if Mia was working the morning shift today, if little Lily had eaten breakfast, if they were warm enough in whatever cramped apartment they called home. The questions gnawed at her with an intensity that surprised her. That evening, Emma attempted what had become a ritual of failure: dinner with her 16-year-old son Ethan. He slouched across from her at their enormous dining table, earbuds firmly in place, completely absorbed in his phone screen. "How was school today?" Emma asked, her voice echoing in the cavernous room. Ethan glanced up briefly, pulled out one earbud, and shrugged. "Same as always. Pointless. Your grades came in. Your chemistry teacher says you're not applying yourself." "Maybe because I don't see the point in pretending to care about things that don't matter," he shot back, his voice carrying the sharp edge of practiced resentment. Emma felt the familiar sting of his words. "Everything matters, Ethan. Your education, your future dash." "My future?" He laughed bitterly. "You mean the future where I become another carbon copy of you?" "Thanks, but I'd rather pass." He stood abruptly, chair scraping against the floor. "I'm going to Marcus's house." "We're not finished talking dash." "Yeah, we are." The front door slammed moments later, leaving Emma alone with her cold dinner and the weight of another failed connection. Meanwhile, across town, Mia was just finishing her double shift at Miller's. Her feet ached, and exhaustion pulled at her shoulders, but she forced herself to smile as she collected her tips. $43. It would have to be enough for groceries and Lily's medication. She hurried home to their small apartment, where Mrs. Rodriguez from next door was watching Lily. "How is she today?" Mia asked quietly. "Sweet as always," Mrs. Rodriguez whispered back. "She did her reading exercises and helped me fold laundry by touch. That girl has magic fingers." Mia smiled genuinely for the first time all day. She found Lily sitting by the window, her small hands carefully arranged on a braille book. "Mama." Lily's face lit up. "Mrs. Rodriguez taught me how to fold fitted sheets. Want to see?" "Of course, baby girl." As Lily demonstrated her new skill, chattering excitedly about her day, Mia felt the familiar mixture of pride and heartbreak. Her daughter was brilliant, resilient, full of joy despite everything they lacked. But Mia knew Lily deserved so much more than what she could provide. 2 days later, Emma found herself parking outside Miller's diner again. She told herself she was just hungry, that she needed a break from the corporate lunch meetings and networking events. But deep down, she knew she was drawn back by something she couldn't quite name. Mia was there, moving efficiently between tables with that same quiet grace Emma had noticed before. When Mia approached her booth, Emma felt her heart rate quicken unexpectedly. "Welcome back," Mia said warmly. "Coffee to start?" "Please." Emma watched as Mia poured, noticing the slight tremor in her hands that spoke of exhaustion. "You work a lot of hours here, don't you?" Mia's smile flickered slightly. "I work where the work is. Can I get you something to eat?" "Actually," Emma said carefully, "I was wondering about your daughter. Lily, right? How old is she?" Something shifted in Mia's expression, a wariness that Emma recognized from her own experiences with people who wanted something from her. "She's 8, Mia said slowly. "Why do you ask?" Emma felt heat rise in her cheeks. How could she explain that she'd been thinking about them constantly, that seeing Mia's sacrifice had shaken something loose inside her that she'd kept buried for years. I noticed how much you care for her. It reminded me of something I've been missing with my own son. Mia studied Emma's face for a long moment. Around them, the diner hummed with conversation and the clatter of dishes, but Emma felt suspended in this moment of unexpected honesty. Finally, Mia set down the coffee pot and leaned slightly forward. Can I ask you something? What is it you really want to know about my life? The question hung between them like a bridge Emma wasn't sure she was ready to cross. But something in Mia's eyes, a mixture of exhaustion, strength, and barely concealed desperation, made Emma realize this conversation could change everything. I want to know, Emma said quietly, if you've ever felt like you're drowning while everyone around you thinks you're swimming just fine. Emma's hands trembled as she reached for her phone, Mia's tear-stained face still vivid in her memory. The conversation from yesterday replayed endlessly, Mia's quiet admission about struggling to pay rent, the way her voice cracked when she mentioned Lily's medical bills. Emma had offered help immediately, but Mia's response still stung. I appreciate it, Mrs. Cartwright, but I don't need charity, Mia had said, her pride evident despite her exhaustion. We'll figure it out somehow. But Emma knew better. She had seen the eviction notice peeking from Mia's purse when she fumbled for her notepad. The harsh reality was that good intentions wouldn't keep a roof over Lily's head. Emma decided to try a different approach with her own son first. Maybe if she could repair things with Ethan, she'd understand better how to help others. She found him in his room, headphones on, staring at his computer screen. Ethan, can we talk? She asked, removing one of his earbuds. He barely glanced up. About what? Another business trip you're leaving for? No, about us. About how I can be a better mother. Ethan's laugh was bitter. Now you want to be a mother? Where was this concern when I needed help with my panic attacks? When I was failing chemistry? Emma felt her throat tighten. I thought providing for you meant. It meant you threw money at problems instead of actually being here. Ethan turned back to his screen. Save the speech for someone who still believes it matters. The rejection hit Emma harder than any business setback ever had. She retreated to her study, but within an hour, her phone rang. It was Mia, her voice shaking. Mrs. Cartwright? I'm sorry to bother you, but... Mia's breathing was uneven. My landlord just served us with papers. We have 48 hours. Emma's heart lurched. 48 hours for what? To pack up and leave. The medical bills. I couldn't keep up with everything. Lily doesn't even know yet. Mia's voice broke completely. I don't know where we're going to go. Emma immediately grabbed her keys. What's your address? I'm coming over. Mrs. Cartwright, you don't have to. Yes, I do. 20 minutes later, Emma stood outside a modest apartment building, watching through a ground-floor window as Mia held Lily close on their worn couch. The little girl's hands moved across her mother's face, clearly sensing her distress. Emma knocked softly. When Mia opened the door, her eyes were red and swollen. Let me help you, Emma said immediately. I can pay the back rent, the medical bills, whatever you need. Mia shook her head firmly. I told you, I can't accept charity. It's not charity. It's... Emma struggled for the right words. It's what people should do for each other. But Mia's pride remained unmoved. I won't be someone's guilt project. Emma felt frustration building. Every solution she could think of, writing a check, paying debts, finding them a new place, felt like throwing money at the problem. Just like with Ethan. She tried a different approach. What if I could help you find a better job? Something with benefits, better hours? Mia's expression softened slightly. I've been looking. But with Lily's needs, most places won't. She stopped herself. Won't what? Won't accommodate a mother who sometimes has to leave early for doctor appointments, or who can't work double shifts because she has a disabled child at home. Mia's voice grew quiet. They don't say that directly, of course. Emma spent the next day making calls, pulling strings, trying to use her network to find Mia opportunities. But each potential lead fell through. Either the timing wasn't right, the salary too low, or the flexibility Mia needed simply wasn't available. By evening, Emma sat in her car outside the diner where she first met Mia, feeling completely helpless. Her phone buzzed with a text from her assistant, "Board meeting moved to tomorrow morning. They want to discuss your recent financial decisions." Emma's stomach dropped. In her urgency to help, she had been writing checks from company accounts, making donations that required board approval. Her impulsive generosity was about to be scrutinized by people who measured everything in quarterly returns. But that concern faded when she saw a man in a rumpled suit approach Mia's apartment building, a stack of official papers in his hand. Emma watched through her windshield as he knocked on Mia's door. Even from a distance, she could see Mia's shoulders sag as she accepted the documents. The landlord's voice carried across the parking lot, cold and final. "Final notice, Miss Thompson. 24 hours, or I call the sheriff." Emma's hands trembled as she signed the check for $200,000. The private investigator had given her everything she needed to know about Mia Thompson's situation: the mounting medical bills, the 3-day eviction notice, the exhaustion etched into every moment of her life. Emma had made her decision. She was going to help Mia, whether Mia wanted it or not. "Mrs. Cartwright, I need to discuss these unusual fund transfers with you," her assistant Marcus said, standing in the doorway of her office. Behind him lurked 3 board members, their faces stern with concern. "Not now, Marcus," Emma replied, not looking up from her desk. "Emma, we need to talk," said Richard Blackwell, the head of her board. "You've quietly moved substantial amounts from the company's charitable fund without board approval. The investors are asking questions." Emma finally looked up, her eyes steely. "It's my money, Richard. My company. My decision. But it's not fiscally responsible behavior. What's gotten into you lately? This isn't like you." Before Emma could respond, her son Ethan burst through the office door, his face flushed with anger. "So it's true? You're just throwing money at strangers now while you can't even have a real conversation with your own son?" The board members exchanged uncomfortable glances. Richard cleared his throat. "We'll discuss this later, Emma." They filed out, leaving mother and son alone. "Ethan, you don't understand." "No, you don't understand." Ethan's voice cracked with emotion. "I overheard Marcus talking about some waitress and her kid. You're playing fairy godmother to people you barely know, but when I needed you for my graduation, my college acceptance, my life, where were you?" Emma felt tears threatening. "I'm trying to do something good, something that matters." "We could have mattered." Ethan shouted. "I could have mattered to you." The silence that followed was deafening. But what Emma said next would change everything between them. "You're right," she whispered. "I failed you. But maybe it's not too late for both of us to learn how to care about something bigger than ourselves." 2 hours later, Emma sat across from Mia at the diner again. This time, Emma's carefully constructed walls were crumbling. "I know what it's like to feel like you're failing," Emma said quietly. "To watch someone you love struggle and feel powerless to fix it." Mia studied her carefully. "You? The woman who probably has everything money can buy? Money doesn't buy you a son who trusts you. Money doesn't buy you the ability to connect with the people who should matter most." Emma's voice broke slightly. "I've been so focused on building an empire that I forgot to build a family." For the first time, Mia's guard dropped completely. "Lily asks me sometimes why other kids have daddies who come to school events, and I tell her we're strong enough on our own. But late at night, when she's sleeping, I wonder if I'm enough for her." "You're everything to her," Emma said. "I can see it in how she looks at you. That's something I lost with my son, and I don't know if I can get it back." Their conversation was interrupted when the diner door chimed. Both women looked up to see Ethan walking in, looking uncertain and slightly embarrassed. "Mom? I wanted to apologize for earlier. Marcus told me you were here." Mia glanced between them, sensing the tension. I should go. No, please stay, Emma said quickly. Then, to Ethan, this is Mia Thompson, and this is her daughter, Lily. Ethan looked down at the little girl sitting quietly beside her mother, her unseeing eyes focused somewhere in the distance. Something in his expression softened immediately. Hi, Lily, he said gently, crouching down to her level. I'm Ethan. Lily tilted her head, a small smile crossing her face. You have a kind voice. Are you sad like my mommy sometimes is? The question hit Ethan like a physical blow. He glanced up at his mother, then back at Lily. Yeah, I guess I'm sad sometimes. But maybe we can figure out how not to be sad together. Emma watched in amazement as her sullen, angry son transformed before her eyes, his entire demeanor changing as he connected with this little girl who couldn't see his expensive clothes or judge his privileged background. What happened next would shock them all and set in motion events that none of them could have anticipated. The transformation begins the moment Emma walks into the small apartment Mia and Lily now call home, her heart swelling as she sees the modest but warm space she helped secure for them. Lily's fingers dance across a brand new Braille reader, her face illuminated with pure joy as she discovers the tactile books Emma quietly arranged to be delivered. Mom, listen to this story about a princess who could see with her heart instead of her eyes, Lily calls out, her voice bubbling with excitement. Mia watches from the kitchen doorway, tears streaming down her face as she witnesses her daughter's happiness, something she feared she might never be able to provide again. Emma feels a presence behind her and turns to find Ethan standing in the doorway, his usual defiant expression replaced by something softer, more vulnerable. He's been visiting Mia and Lily every day since that first accidental meeting, drawn to their genuine warmth in ways he never expected. I've been thinking about what you said, Ethan tells his mother quietly, his voice carrying a maturity that surprises Emma. About how we take things for granted. Lily taught me how to play checkers without looking at the board yesterday. She beat me 3 times in a row. He laughs, but there's admiration in his voice. She doesn't see her blindness as a limitation. She just adapts and finds another way. Emma reaches for her son's hand, and for the first time in years, he doesn't pull away. She's remarkable, isn't she? Just like her mother. Mia joins them, carrying a tray of homemade cookies, a luxury she can finally afford thanks to the stable job Emma helped her secure at a nonprofit organization supporting families with special needs children. The work gives Mia purpose beyond just survival, allowing her to use her natural compassion to help others while maintaining her dignity and independence. I still can't believe all of this is real, Mia admits, settling beside Emma on the couch they picked out together. 6 months ago, I was one paycheck away from losing everything. Now Lily has her specialized equipment, we have a real home, and I have work that means something to me. Emma shakes her head. You never lost anything that truly mattered, Mia. Your strength, your love for Lily, your integrity, that's what changed my life, not the other way around. I was drowning in my own privilege, completely disconnected from what makes life meaningful. The 4 of them spend the evening together, sharing stories and laughter around Mia's dinner table. Emma watches Ethan patiently help Lily with a puzzle, his gentle guidance a far cry from the angry, entitled teenager she'd been struggling to reach for years. The boy who once threw tantrums over minor inconveniences now celebrates enthusiastically when Lily successfully places each piece. You know what the best part is? Ethan says suddenly, looking directly at his mother. I finally understand why you work so hard. It's not about making money, it's about having the power to make things better for people who need it. Emma's foundation has since expanded its mission, focusing specifically on supporting single mothers with disabled children. Mia serves on the advisory board, her lived experience invaluable in shaping programs that truly serve families in need. Together, they've helped dozens of families avoid the financial catastrophe that once threatened to tear Mia and Lily's world apart. As the evening winds down, Lily approaches Emma with careful steps, her small hands extended. Miss Emma, can I feel your face? I want to remember exactly how my guardian angel looks. Emma kneels down, tears flowing freely as Lily's gentle fingers trace her features. "You're beautiful," Lily whispers, "but not just on the outside. I can feel the beautiful in your heart too." The words hit Emma like a revelation. She realizes that true wealth isn't measured in bank accounts or stock portfolios, but in the connections we forge and the lives we touch. The isolation she felt in her mansion has been replaced by the warmth of authentic relationships built on mutual respect and genuine care. Months later, Emma's transformation is complete but ongoing. She's moved out of her sterile mansion into a comfortable home in Mia's neighborhood, close enough to be part of their daily lives while maintaining healthy boundaries. The billionaire who once ate alone in empty rooms now shares regular Sunday dinners with her chosen family, where Lily's laughter fills every corner and Ethan has found his purpose in studying special education. The ripple effects continue to spread. Emma's story has inspired other wealthy individuals to look beyond their comfortable bubbles and find meaningful ways to contribute. Her foundation's success has drawn national attention to the struggles of single mothers with disabled children, creating policy changes that benefit thousands of families. But the greatest transformation isn't in the lives Emma has touched, it's in the woman she's become. The empty shell who first walked into that diner has been replaced by someone with purpose, connection, and genuine joy. She's learned that changing someone's life forever doesn't require grand gestures, but rather the willingness to see others as fully human and deserving of dignity and support. As Emma tucks Lily into bed one Sunday evening, the little girl asks, "Do you think there are other kids like me who need help?" "I know there are, sweetheart," Emma replies, smoothing Lily's hair. "Then we better keep helping them, right?" Emma smiles, knowing that this is just the beginning. "Absolutely, my dear. Absolutely. What act of kindness could you perform today that might change someone's life forever?" Sometimes the smallest gestures create the biggest transformations. Share your thoughts below. Your story might inspire someone else to take action.